Marked for death. On a warm summer day in July 2018, 18-year-old Alexis Stern was behind the wheel of her brand new cherry red Ford Fusion, a celebratory gift from her parents for passing her driving exam. Sitting beside her was her boyfriend of a few months, Robbie Olson. Life felt full of promise. The couple was in high spirits, laughing, driving through Big Lake, Minnesota, soaking in the sun and their newfound freedom. But that lightness vanished the moment Alexis's phone rang. The caller ID read unknown, a detail she might have ignored on any other day. But curiosity got the better of her. When she answered, the voice on the other end introduced himself as a deputy from the Sherburne County Sheriff's Department. Calm but urgent, he asked Alexis to report to the sheriff's office immediately. When she asked if she was in trouble, the deputy reassured her. "You haven't done anything wrong, but you need to come in as soon as possible." Confused and rattled, Alexis drove to the department headquarters. What awaited her wasn't an ordinary visit. The moment she arrived, officers ushered her into a secure interview room. The mood was intense. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. Then came the chilling news. Alexis's life was in danger. She had been marked for death by someone who had hired a professional hitman via a dark web marketplace known as Kimura Hitman. At first, Alexis didn't believe it. She insisted there had to be a mistake, but there was no mistake. Someone using the alias Mastermind365 had logged onto the hidden site using a Tor browser, an encryption tool that allows users to browse the dark web anonymously. At first, they inquired about a kidnapping, but when informed that keeping the victim alive would cost more due to added risk, they changed their mind. The revised request: execution-style murder. The hitman was paid $5,000 in Bitcoin. Along with the payment, Mastermind365 uploaded a recent photo of Alexis, confirming the target. That very night, Alexis returned home under police escort. The authorities told her that the hit had just been placed, meaning she might have a short window before the killer struck. A true professional would likely take days or weeks to observe her movements and plan the perfect moment to strike. But Alexis now had one powerful advantage: awareness. Her family didn't waste time. They installed a sophisticated security system. Alexis enrolled in MMA self-defense classes, and Robbie, her boyfriend, started carrying a large fishing knife. Every day became a struggle between fear and survival. Alexis later described her mental state. "I was constantly looking over my shoulder, checking under the car, behind cars. You don't even know what you're looking for. You just know something is coming." The case soon attracted the attention of federal agents from multiple three-letter agencies, though the local deputies still handled most of the groundwork. During an interview, Alexis was asked the obvious question: who would want you dead? At first, she had no idea. But then a name surfaced from memory: Adrian Fry, a British man she dated online some time ago. She had broken things off months earlier, and while Adrian had appeared to accept it, Alexis remembered him being intense, even obsessive. Still, she resisted the idea that he could be behind a murder plot. Adrian was soft-spoken, a man who hated horror movies because they were too violent. He worked as an accountant and had never shown signs of aggression. It just didn't make sense. But the case wouldn't have even come to light if not for the efforts of Chris Montero, a white-hat hacker and cybercrime blogger known for uncovering scams and disturbing truths on the dark web. While exploring hitman-for-hire scams, Chris stumbled upon communications related to Alexis's case. He saw the order and immediately contacted the authorities. Without his actions, Alexis might never have known she was a target. As days passed, the investigation revealed even more disturbing patterns. Mastermind 365 had a peculiar writing habit, typing "thank you" as one word, "thank you," a quirk often seen in British English, not American. They had also attempted to buy an illegal firearm online, something a US citizen wouldn't need to do on the dark web. Most disturbingly, the day they changed their request from kidnapping to murder was the same day Alexis had told Adrian about her new boyfriend. Everything pointed back to Adrian Fry. Yet, despite the circumstantial evidence, no charges were ever brought. Adrian denied all involvement. The dark web, for all its openness to depravity, remains shrouded in legal complexity and technological anonymity. The law could not definitively prove that Adrian was Mastermind 365. In the weeks that followed, Alexis's life unraveled. She dropped out of community college, quit her job, and became increasingly dependent on Robbie for emotional and physical safety. She couldn't go anywhere alone. The fear was suffocating. "All my freedom was taken away," she said. Even after the threat faded, the trauma lingered. She had been targeted for death by someone she once trusted, someone who had enough money and motive to nearly get away with murder. To this day, the case remains technically unsolved. But for Alexis Stern, the truth is clear, even if justice never came. And the terrifying reality remains. Out there in the shadows of the internet, a marketplace exists where life can be bought and sold, where anonymity empowers monsters, and where one teenager's nightmare was far too real. The Smiling Killer. It was the spring of 2016 in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, when FBI agents knocked on the door of Amy Allwine's suburban home with urgent news. Amy, a kind-hearted woman and professional dog trainer, had no idea she had just become the target of a dark web assassination plot, one that could have ended her life without her ever knowing who ordered it. The FBI's visit wasn't based on rumor or vague threats. They had concrete evidence. A dark web user named Dog Day God had logged onto a site known as Bisa Mafia, a notorious corner of the internet claiming to offer murder-for-hire services for Bitcoin. The chilling request was direct and cold. "I need her dead." That woman was Amy Allwine. The would-be hitman had been given detailed information. Amy's home address, her work schedule, the name of her dog training business, and even the name of the school her child attended. The person behind the order wanted the hit to appear as an accident. In a follow-up message, the customer wrote, "You can use a car crash, a freak fire, anything, but make it look clean, and make sure the kid and husband are safe. Just get her." The FBI told Amy that she was lucky. A white hat hacker had broken into Bisa Mafia's system and leaked user data to authorities. One of the names on the hit list was hers. With the warning in hand, Amy and her husband, Stephen Allwine, wasted no time. The couple invested in a top-of-the-line home security system. Stephen, an IT specialist and respected elder in their local church, also purchased a handgun for protection. To everyone who knew them, Stephen seemed like the perfect husband, devoted, calm, religious. And in public, he played the part convincingly. But behind that well-mannered mask, Stephen Allwine was harboring a sickening secret. Authorities later discovered that Stephen himself was Dog Day God, the man who had tried to have his wife murdered through the dark web. When the Bisa Mafia hit failed to go through, either because it was a scam or the hitman backed out, Stephen took matters into his own hands. On November 13th, 2016, the Cottage Grove police received a 911 call. Stephen told them he had found Amy dead in their bedroom. The cause? An apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Stephen sobbed through the call, claiming he was in shock. But the details didn't add up. The angle of the bullet, the lack of gunpowder residue on Amy's hands, and the overall staging of the scene began to raise questions. Investigators quickly grew suspicious, and when they dug deeper into Stephen's online activity, a horrifying truth unraveled. Stephen had created an account on Besa Mafia using a Tor browser, transferring over $6,000 in Bitcoin to hire someone to kill his wife. He corresponded extensively with the site's administrator, believed to be a man known only as Yura, and expressed increasing frustration over the hitman's delays. In one message, he even complained that nothing had been done. "I do not care about the date or the method. You have her photo and address. Just do it already. I want this over." At the same time, Stephen had taken out a $700,000 life insurance policy on Amy. And as investigators looked further into his digital footprint, they discovered he had been engaging in a string of extramarital affairs using the infamous site Ashley Madison, which catered to people seeking secret relationships outside of marriage. To the world, Stephen was a church elder, a man of faith, a devoted father. But in private, he was a man consumed by greed, lust, and cowardice. Divorce was not an option for him. Doing so would risk his standing in the United Church of God. So instead, he plotted to eliminate his wife. Even more damning were the digital forensics. The FBI recovered chat logs and transaction records, proving that Stephen was Dog Day God. The IP addresses, Bitcoin wallet connections, and browser history all pointed directly to him. When the hired killer didn't follow through, Stephen murdered Amy himself, using the same gun he had bought to protect her. He shot her in the head and attempted to stage the scene as a suicide. But the investigation, backed by digital evidence from the dark web and Stephen's own devices, exposed his lies. In January 2018, Stephen Allwine was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. During the trial, the prosecution made clear the horror of the betrayal. Not only had Stephen tried to outsource his wife's murder using an anonymous dark website, but when that failed, he pulled the trigger himself, all while keeping up the act of a grieving, loving husband. Perhaps the most chilling part, Amy never suspected him. She had trusted Stephen, relied on him, and believed he was trying to protect her. In reality, the man sleeping next to her had been plotting her death for months. The case remains one of the most disturbing examples of how the dark web, anonymity, and cryptocurrency have created new channels for evil. While many murder-for-hire sites are scams, some have led to real violence, and as the Amy Allwine case proves, sometimes the person behind the threat is far closer than anyone could imagine.